Now, I'm going to take more minutes because he gave me the answer, so I need a few more minutes. All this temptation, all this lust, all this hatred, these are not necessarily this poo-poo, no doubt, but this is not views. This one is very hard. This is automatic, you know. The feeling of lust, you think is controlled or uncontrolled? It's automatic, right? It's subconscious. Feeling of hatred comes out immediately also, right? It's uncontrolled, right? So the key point is that you have all this poo-poo there, but there's certain views that you have that can actually help you rein in these unconscious things. Very as a distraction, which is about science. All these things are emotional and unconscious. And the key point to rein it in, because if you don't rein it in with conscious awareness, it was just going to run amok. Like the dog. You think the dog can control its pee-pee and it's automatic, it just wants to pee-pee, pass urine everywhere, isn't it? So you have to teach it. And one thing I told you was the being aware and pulling it back. But there's something that's causing us to have all this hatred and all this hatred. And the thing is that you still don't know. The view is the view. The view is this. Everything that is important in this world revolves around what? Me. Yes. This is the view. Everything important revolves around me. I am the most important person on earth. Everything that's important is me. This is my thing, I'm most important. Because of that, now the dog will run amok. Everything, you know, that's why the dog will mark territory, because it wants to have things that belongs to it. You understand what I'm saying here? The key point is that our ego is very big. And the way to train our mind and purify our mind is to actually go deep inside ourselves and be aware that I'm not the most important person on earth. I'm not the most important person on earth. That's the first time. That's really not very convincing because you are inbuilt to actually believe that. If you tell me, I say, yeah, I think so, but after that you go and start passing your urine everywhere again. But you have to now, in order to cycle yourself and make yourself believe that, you have to deeply believe what the Buddha says. Because I think I am the most important person on earth, therefore I am causing myself a lot of harm, I'm causing people a lot of harm, I'm causing myself a lot of suffering, and I am causing suffering to myself and other people. You have to convince yourself of that. When you convince yourself of that, you will stop. No point telling yourself, I'm not the most important person on earth, because there's another level of wisdom that's needed. But what you have to understand is that because I think I'm the most important person on earth, everything revolves around me, therefore I am causing suffering to myself. I am causing suffering to others. I'm causing harm to myself, I'm causing harm to others. When you realize that, you will stop. And this is called purification. And that's another story altogether. But this is important that because of our ego, because we believe that this myself, I'm important, I exist, you will do a lot of things. And when you realize that whatever you are doing is causing a lot of harm to yourself and others, and by letting go of that belief, you will actually create more happiness for yourself. Then you will believe. And then maybe your way of life is actually now to inculcate that belief in yourself and lead a life where you really actively believe that by believing yourself as the most important person, you're causing a lot of harm to yourself. Therefore, I will not hold on to that belief. I will treat others as very important as well. That's one key point about the way of life in terms of being a Buddhist. So I can close now, and if you ask questions, I can elaborate, but I think I've made my main points clear. What is the Dharma way of life? Dharma way of life is very simple as far as I'm concerned. Number one, have your intentionality straightened. What do you want? How do you want to lead your life? Do you want to lead a life where what you do will cause harm to others? Or do you want to lead a life where you're kind to yourself and kind to others? Set up with intention. Then number two, then once you've got intention straight, then follow up with your actions. And I told you three things, right? One is your actions. Do only good, do not do evil. And that applies to both what you do, what you say, and what you think. You follow? This is your action, your speech, and your thoughts. And then after that, the third thing to do, the third main thing to do, if you talk about Dharma, a way of life, is that, okay, I want to do that, and then, because I'm a Buddhist, because I encountered NTUBS, therefore, I want to apply what the Buddha taught me. Now you are trying to purify your mind, and you need a teacher. You are trying to purify the mind with the teachings of the Buddha, in terms of how you can do it. I mentioned a few. Number one, key point is to have this pure awareness of what you are doing. Because if you are distracted, you cannot know that your dog is passing urine everywhere in the house. If you are distracted, you do not know you are causing harm to others with your thoughts. Correct? Next, you need to have a clear mind and focused mind. So you need to practice some concentration. Let your mind calm down. Third, you must start understanding what the Buddha taught about why do you suffer so much. And you have to deconstruct the importance of yourself as the most important person on earth. And then to do that, you actually have to understand that everything, you shouldn't hold on to views, you shouldn't hold on to any concepts, you shouldn't hold on to anything. Okay? And understand that by holding on to this idea that I'm the most important person, I'm causing a lot of suffering for myself. When you finally realize that, you will stop what you're doing. Because you know why? You're burning yourself. It's just that, say, you just go on burning your hair by doing what you do. And when you realize that, hey, I'm actually burning myself, then you'll stop. And this is the way of life. Okay? So, key points done. Open the questions. If no question, I can continue. But I take a pause now to invite questions. You can ask me, it's necessary that you ask questions about this, what I've talked about. You can ask about anything that bothers you. If I can answer, I can answer. But about Buddhism, you can, right? If I can answer, I answer. If I cannot answer, I'll tell you I don't know the answer. How much time do I have? How much time do I have? 50 minutes left, okay. Yeah, 50 minutes left. You can ask, I don't need to write. Okay, I will give you up. And while you're thinking of questions, I'll tell you something that actually one student of mine actually told me this the other day. I was very impressed. Okay, she said that basically it was on Teachers' Day. Actually, today is Teachers' Day. So yeah. So she was telling me that actually before she attended the Dharma class, she said she had lots and lots of suffering, and she was very bothered for 5 years, with things in her relationships and with her work and all that. Then she said there was something that it was mentioned in the Dharma class, and then actually once she heard that, all her suffering just dissipated. Okay, I won't go into discuss it. There was a very simple thing. It was actually life of the Buddha. She heard the life of the Buddha, and the one thing she heard was that, the following: that nothing in this world lasts forever. Everything is impermanent. When she heard that, she said, "Wow, gosh, all her troubles dissipated, all her heartaches, all that dissipated." She just heard one line, that everything is impermanent. I said, "My goodness, that's very impressive, right?" Because I'm sure you all heard everything is impermanent. But not everybody hears that and then get that understanding. But for her it is. I tell you why it happens to her, okay? Because she had problems. I think you all are very carefree, see? So that's why you all don't feel it. But she had problems. So maybe she had problems, and therefore when she's trying to seek a solution to that, then when she heard it, it struck, and then she managed to let go. Because if everything is impermanent, why is there a need to hold on to anything? Because you are holding on to an illusion. Yes, right? It's too deep for you to understand. But the whole point is, if everything is impermanent, nothing lasts forever, then why do you want to hold on to something so tightly, thinking that and wanting it to last forever? Because when you do that, you know what's happening again? you realize that, oh my gosh, I'm whipping myself. Because why? I'm trying to hold on to something that's impossible, and because of that, I'm creating a lot of mental anguish for myself. Okay? So no question. You rather I talk? You rather continue with the rest of the evening? Any questions? Anything? You can ask me anything. Yes?
What if we lie in the for the good sake?
You lie for the good sake. Is there a problem? If you lie for a good purpose, is it good or is it bad? Let me answer in two perspectives. If you are starting to keep the precepts, then I'll say try not to lie in any circumstances. I repeat again, if you're starting to practice the precepts, I would say try not to lie in any circumstances. And therefore, when you speak, if you have to tell a lie, then I'd rather you not open your mouth. And if you have to speak, then I still expect you, hope that you will try to speak words of truth, not necessarily answering the question, but speak the words of truth. For example, so someone could ask someone, oh, how come she didn't come today? I mean, it's like someone told you that, oh, she's going to scoot off early, okay? Alright? And then, let's say you're working and someone says she's going to scoot off early. And then your boss asks, where's your colleague? Okay, then if you know, right, you can say, where's your colleague? Then you can say, oh, don't know that. Okay? Or you can answer the truth. And when you speak that, you have the intentionality that you are speaking only the truth. You could say that, oh, well, she didn't tell me where she's going. That's the truth, right? In fact, your don't know la is actually possibly a truth, but you just speak the truth. Say, I don't know where she's going. She did not tell me where she's going. Okay, that's the truth, right? So you can speak the truth and maybe not answer the question. Okay, if the person is savvy enough, they won't push it. Won't push. Then if I ask someone, if you want someone ask you, where are you going? You don't want to say. Alright, you say, then you can really say, oh, yeah, I'm going somewhere. Okay. You go. But you don't have to answer. You can just not answer. Or if someone you're more direct or you don't care actually, without hurting yourself, you say, oh yeah, I have some private engagement. Period. You don't have to lie. So I would say that if you can, speak the truth, and then when you need to open your mouth, then speak the truth still. But not necessarily trying to make the person, you can say something that is truthful. And you may not necessarily answer the question, and the person will think you're dumb. That's okay. Alright? But at least you speak the truth. I would say that. Now, and I tell you why it's important to do that, because when you're training, you need to actually be clear on practicing that all the time. Because you don't want to keep giving yourself exceptions. Because when you start giving yourself exceptions, at some point in time, you create excuses for yourself. The mind is extremely intelligent in doing that. At some point in time, you will tell lies in order to say, for someone else's good, but you never know whether it's for someone else's good or for your own good, for your own benefits. You never know. You say you don't want to hurt the other person by telling a lie, but maybe what you want to do is, you don't want to tell a lie, you want to tell a lie so that not to hurt her and therefore not to make her angry with you because you like her. Oh, that's a very blurred line now, see? You don't want to hurt the other person, but at the back of your mind, you also don't want her to hate you. Right? So you say something that's a lie to make her feel good so that she will like you. Now be very careful because you don't want to hurt her, but at the same time it's very selfish. You want the person to like you. Now what is the source of your problem? Me. So therefore I say when you start training, try not to tell lies. Because you never know whether the mind is trying to do it for its own sake, for a very selfish purpose.